broadcasting live from an undisclosed location in the universe. Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, the show where metaphysics, holistic living, motivation, and inspiration come together to empower your mind, body, and soul. We will dive deep into the realms of metaphysical wisdom, exploring the fascinating connections between mind and matter. Get ready to ignite your inner spark and embrace a journey of self-discovery. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Iggy Garcia Live, episode 199. Man, almost to 200. So, yeah, we're like right in the middle of summer, actually the beginning of summer now. So, welcome to the summer solstice, a full moon. So, can't ask for anything better on a better day to get us going. So we're going to light a candle like we always do, giving thanks to our ancestors, giving thanks to Viracocha, the Great Spirit, Solinti, the sun, for its love, and Pachamama for her beautiful caressing and holding us. Thanks to those who have come before us and those who we love and those we care for. And those who have transitioned and moved on. So we light a candle, remembering that this candle lights bright, but eventually it does go out. And it gets recycled back into another version of itself.
I couldn't find that in your Spotify library. You can ask me to play a radio station or ask for
Hey,
your music on a different app.
spying on me. I'm going to take it off. I didn't ask Siri for anything. She's always listening to my conversation. Bad Siri. But anyhow, so we're going to also light a little sage. This is a white ceremonial sage for cleansing, for clearing. Getting us all into the proper mood and channel. Sage bath. Can't beat that. Put this over here. All right. Oh, the summer has just begun, and we're getting ready for our great trip to Peru, coming July 5th through the 15th. Those of you who are going to Peru with me and my family, it's going to be an amazing time. We're going to have a blast, you know. We're going to just have a whole great, amazing time just visiting the sacred sites of Peru and going to Machu Picchu, Ollantaytambo, the Sacred Valley, Cusco, Lima, you know, Puerto Maldonado, you know, Madre de Dios. We're going to be in the jungle to partake in the ayahuasca ceremony as well. So yeah, we're gearing right up. We're getting ready for that. Pretty stoked, pretty excited. So, you know, I wanted to just start off just to say, you know, it's good to be here. And, you know, I've been getting a lot of good reports about that's our chant, our little mantra. It's good to be here. I had a friend tell me that one of their friends went up to a mountaintop, and when they got up there, they said, it's good to be here, and it made sense why we say it's good to be here. And I thought that was pretty cool. That excited me. Excuse me. That has taken on a life of its own, and you know, we use it in our drum circles and all the events and ceremonies we do. But truthfully, it is good to be here. You know, it is good to have the opportunity to partake and participate in life and be able to see and connect and be part of something much bigger and greater than us, as much as we are as big and great too, within the fabric of the universe and societies and this planet and the stars, the moon, everything that comes with that. You know, today I did a little talk today about, people that introduce us to new ways of thinking and new ways of seeing things differently, and what they bring to the table into our lives, and what it means to have another good human being present with you. And they're important to have good connection and good family and a good group, a source of, kind, like-minded people in your life to be able to share their spirit and their soul and their heart with you. So many of us, we struggle because we don't have family connections. We don't have, a significant other, or we're single, or we are married and we're in a relationship and it doesn't seem like there's a lot happening in it. But a lot of it's just, it breaks down, that we have to make the choices that are best for us in that given moment. There's no right moment to per se to say, this is it, this is what I'm going to do it. It may perceive itself that way, it may look that way, it may present itself that way, but you ever heard of seize the moment? Seizing the moment is a very powerful statement, because when it's right in front of us and we know that we have to say, hey, seize the moment, and we don't seize it, well, the person that who beats themselves up the most are the ones who are affected by that, so it's important to know that, hey, I'm going to do something about my situation, my plight. So this is why I wanted to talk about the story of us, the story of who we are. Who are we? What have we created to bring us into this moment in time that has brought us to this place where we feel that we have to, just accept life for how it is, or some of us have the attitude that, there's more to come. And so, and both of those are realities for a lot of people. Some people feel like they've maxed out and that's it, and they can't do anymore. They're drained, they're tired, and they can't continue. And there are other people who just fight and battle and keep going and go forward. So coming to that point, I also want to just say big prayers and big energy to all my friends who are not well. To all my friends who are suffering from cancer, from mental illness, and from all the things that afflictions that ail them. I ask Great Spirit to, shower them with love and healing and care and embrace. There's so many of us who are struggling right now, and it's real. I have moments of struggle. You have moments of struggle, but we try to keep it to a minimum, right? We try to keep it to a place where it doesn't affect us that much. But being human being, we can't help but have struggles. We can't help to have plight, and be in the situations that we are in. But now it's important to surround ourselves with the right energies, to surround ourselves with people, for us to be the right energy for other people as well. So many stories as I want, I need, and I gotta have. But there are other people who also are looking for us, for that connection, and that embrace, and that feeling of being part of something. And and we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes that we are able to affect and move people in directions that will help them. But I'm here to tell you, everybody who I've run into in my life have been powerful teachers. Excuse me. They've been powerful teachers. They have taught me the good, the bad, and the ugly of what life looks like, or the perceptions that I've created about life. So many of us, sometimes we see things and we get stuck in the ugly, or we get stuck in the pretty, we get stuck in the confusion, and it's hard for us to navigate. So life is about connections, but so many of us sometimes don't want to be connected to anybody. We want to be alone, and we want to be in our own space, and we don't want to be bothered. And that's fair. That's fair as well. Remember, this is your journey. This is your connection. This is what you want from life. This is what you are looking for. And if that's what you want, I'm here to tell you, then great. So many people will say, well, yeah, you're stupid for being there. Sometimes being alone is probably one of the most powerful things that could ever happen to us, and mold us and create us and put us into a space that, will make us help us expand so much that we don't even know we're expanding. Our mind is full and cluttered with so much stuff, so much information from every day, from other people, from current events that are happening in the world, from the indoctrinations of schooling, the indoctrinations of religion, the indoctrinations of our government, the indoctrination of how we should be living by other people's standards. There's going to come a point where not everybody's going to do or want to be or be connected in a way with you or with others, because it's so different and so foreign. That's why for us, sometimes we watch the news and we watch, a documentary, or we watch something that inspires us, but then we watch some things and we can't connect to it because we don't have any point of reference for it. It's kind of like other people looking here in the United States. They see us and they see our struggles as we see their struggles. And then, we don't see the struggle so much because we're here. We're in the mix of it all. And when you're in the mix of it all, it's very difficult to feel that energy. So what happens is we start to become very complacent. We become very, shut down, run down. Even the happiest person doesn't even know that there's more happiness to obtain. There's more beauty to obtain, more energy to get, embrace and bring into us. Our higher self, the version of ourselves that is, etheric and angelic, that the Creator has put in us, is very powerful. It's always there and it's always guiding us. But we shut it off. We shut it off because we don't feel like we're worthy sometimes, that we're not worthy of that divine spark. You've heard it, I've heard it, that we're all a piece and part of the creation, part of Creator. And Creator's experiencing life through us and journeying through us and all the pieces and fragmented pieces of us, those little pieces, those splinters of us. So why is it that other people sometimes can't bond or connect with other people? Why is it other people sometimes we can't find our way with others? Because it's not natural to be, in the place of unity and peace all the time. In order to have peace, we have to create dysfunction in order to create and restructure what that looks like. For a lot of people, they want peace. In order to maintain peace, all the players have to be in alignment. All the players have to be, in the system and understand how it works. So even to obtain peace could be a difficult thing. Sometimes it's easier to us to fight and to war each other and manipulate and control each other, because then that's compliance. And when there's just compliance and we're just trying to do what we need to do, it never works. And so for a lot of people, it's very difficult to live in this modern time. But in this modern time, that we live in, we have all this technology. We have all these resources that our ancestors didn't have. Our ancestors had, connection to the stars, a connection to, understanding what the spiritual realms were. We do that now, but we poo-hoo it a lot. I watched a video today on CNN, and, I was really disheartened. I was really disheartened to watch. And I don't know the whole backstory, and I don't know why they did it and what the reasoning was, because they didn't really tell you. But the spiritual part of me, the part of me that's connected to ancestral energies and understanding that this is more than what we can truly understand. Well, there's an environmentalist group that went over there in Stonehenge. I don't know if it was today or a few days ago, and they used some kind of spray paint type stuff where it washes away eventually. But they spray painted Stonehenge, and they sprayed it and defecated it, and just totally went to town on it. And there were some people there who were trying to stop them, but these guys just kept spraying. There was a group of, one older guy and some young people. And so I'm thinking to myself, what is the value? What is the point of that? Why would you do that? Why would you go into a sanctuary that somebody holds high regard in their heart, in their spirit, and their soul, because you're not in alignment with it, because it doesn't connect with you, doesn't resonate with you, that you want to prove a point that it has to be, defaced, because who knows what the reasons were. Like I said, I don't know what the reasons were. I'm just guessing, if I had to guess, they were trying to protest something else to get the attention of people. That sometimes we stand around rocks and we pay more attention to rocks that's been there for thousands of years than the Mother Earth herself. But it really pissed me off. That's like someone going to Machu Picchu and, getting in there and start spray painting Machu Picchu, where I'm from, or all the Sacred Valley temples, because they want to protest against, colonization or whatever, we come to a point, no matter how difficult it may be, that we have to merge. We have to come together and merge our beliefs and our discontentments and try to understand each other. But we don't do that because we think that everything has to be, have to have equality or equal. But nothing's equal. Nothing is equal. Everything cannot be equal. You cannot just put a systematic one glove fits everything that everybody's going to, adhere to. Because it's not how it works. We're all individual human beings, individual people with individual thought, individual heart, individual, feelings and emotions about stuff. There are going to be people who dislike this video, people who dislike me. And, that's okay. I don't hold any malice against them. They just are where they're at, and they're going to always be that way because a part of them feels they're not connected to me. I'm not connected to them because that's the way life is sometimes. The connections aren't always going to be pure and clean. I'm going to check here and see if people are commenting. And, so I don't know sometimes when I see things in the world and people are upset with other people because they don't understand or because they say, hey, why aren't you on board? Because sometimes we don't understand what's really happening. We see what's happening. There's a difference. Seeing and understanding are two different things. Something doesn't get into your spirit, into your soul until you understand or want it in there. Sometimes it's better to be the observer. Sometimes it's better to be, the person who participates. And every human being has that. We talk about equity, we talk about equal rights, we talk about all this. But, when we come down to it, we can't have any of that until we understand that we have to accept people who they are versus what we want them to be. We want people to be, a certain way and to, understand life a certain way. But you can't do that. It won't happen. It won't happen because I'm as different as the next person. And every thought that I process is different than the thoughts they process. And what works for them doesn't necessarily work for me. And so this is what we run into sometimes. We run into that we want to systematically make everything, a certain way. We talk about, the colonization and what happened. And we label people, supremacists. It doesn't, if you're white and you say you're white, the white supremacy, then you're part of the white supremacy. But there's also pieces and parts of conquering that happened in the Inca Empire. The Inca Empire conquered people and assimilated them into their culture. So this isn't like systematic just one group of people. Yes, the Europeans came here and they did some of huge travesties to this side of the world. But now that we're here, what do we do? That's the key thing. What do we do? We can never forget what happened because we honor and respect our ancestors and elders, and we can't allow that to just disappear and just vanish. The story is the story of us, the story of me, the story of my people, is that we're shut down, we're shut up when we want to talk about it. It wasn't me, it wasn't my family. No one ever accused anybody of anything. The only thing we're saying is it happened. Let's just not forget those people. Let's not forget they were like you and me, living each day, doing what we do and living how we do. And then one day, somebody just appears in our doorstep and says, you can no longer live like this. You can no longer be like this. This happened in the Americas, South America, Central America, all over the world. Why? Because we were chasing, material things. The more material things and the more wealthy and the more powerful some of us wanted to become, that came with a cost. Came with a huge cost. And today, nothing has changed. The players have just changed. The way they play the game has changed. But nothing has changed. We believe that it's changed. We think that we're changing. They give us the impression that we're changing. They give us the impression that we've done good, that we've done something. But I'm here to tell you, nothing's really changed. The only thing that just looks different, and it's assimilated into our culture and into the way that we live. If someone can oppress somebody, they will. I'm not saying you're an oppressor, I'm an oppressor, but there are people, if they can oppress, they will. If they can keep their thumb down, they will. Because it benefits them. It benefits them to the degree that, it keeps them in power. So my story is of indigenous. My story is of European. My story is about a mixture of cultures and ideas and beliefs embedded, ingrained inside my DNA, the genes, the cell of my body. The story that I buy into is, because one parent is sick, doesn't mean that I have to be sick. And I don't have to own, the hurts that my ancestors felt. I can only honor them and move forward and move the message forward that we're here and we're not going anywhere. Yeah, I understand that there are going to be people who won't understand my message of what I'm talking about because it doesn't resonate with them. It's not their story. It's not about them. It's about myself. It's about you. It's about, the indigenous people of the Americas, the indigenous people of, India, the indigenous people all over the world. You guys have heard me talk before. We turn a blind eye and we praise the monarchy because, it's great, But the damage that they did, and the stories that that we create from that. And we want to be part of a story. We attach our belief systems and our ideologies and ideas to stories. We attach that to ourselves sometimes. We want to be part of the monarchy. We want to be part of the indigenous people. Look where you align yourself. Ask yourself, what do you align yourself with? Where do you put your focal point and energies? Are you a protester? Are you a conservative? Are you a liberal? Are you a moderate? Where do you put your energy? Ask yourself, what kind of new thinking have you created for other people? What kind of new thinking has other people created for you? But it's so hard for people sometimes to change because change is difficult. Change means that you have to become vulnerable. And sometimes might have to accept some things that, are kind of messed up. Now, not everybody who is here or listening to this broadcast is, a bad person. I don't think people are necessarily bad. Sometimes we fall into bad traps about life. And then life tests us. Life puts us in situations where we either flourish or we deflower and fall apart and go back to the ground and back to the earth. So what's your story? What's the issues with your life? What causes you to be where you're at? Are you happy where you're at? Are you content with where you're at? Do you want better? Do you want more? Most of us know what it takes to go further. Most of us know the sacrifice that you would have to put in to succeed and to have and want more and to be part of something. But most of us are not willing to do the work. Most of us are not willing to go that extra mile to do something that, that we know if we do it, we will probably have the successes that we want. But most of us aren't willing to live moderately. Most of us are not willing to, turn off the TV. Most of us are not willing to stop eating the sugars. Most of us are not willing to cut back on carbs. Most of us are not willing to just, not spend. Because, these are the stories that we create about how we need and what we feel inside. Sometimes we go to the store and we shop till we drop because it's a way of, nurturing our body. But this is what's so interesting. Is we live in a time that's so powerful. You have every opportunity and every gift to do so many different things, but yet we squander the opportunity. As time passes, as we manifest forward into time, into the present moment, from the past to the present, into the future, which all simultaneously happen all at once. We always wait to put off things. We always wait to say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. Well, you know what? There is no next week. There is no tomorrow. If you lost loved ones, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm saying. Because they told you, I'll see you tomorrow. And then never came home. Oh, I don't feel good. And never saw them again. There is no tomorrow. There's no ifs. You gamble every day with your life when you lay down in your bed. You take the chance that you may not wake up. You could be the healthiest person in the world. I don't care what you tell me. You could be the most, buff person. The most, healthiest you could be. And you could be the most sickly person and still, either way. You go down, you lay down, and you know what? Your number comes up. God says, it's your day. You gotta go. You can't just say, well, I don't have any, I just got so much to do. Some of you have had heart attacks. Some of you have had cancer. Some of you have been really sick. You know what I'm talking about. I've been really sick. I know that feeling when you cannot, and when you're not in control, and when you know that it could happen. And it hits home because these are real things. Because this is our destiny. Our destiny is that we will break down, and we will go back to the ground. I'm 57. When you look at the foods and the environment and the pollution, people don't live past 70, 80 if you're lucky now. There's people, I have friends who died in the 60s, 65s, That's crazy to me. That's nuts. This just doesn't seem old enough. Old to me is like getting to 100 or 90. That seems old to me. Like you've paid your dues. But, 60, 70, 80 there's so much life, so much vigor to live, so much excitement to live. But yet we don't take care of ourselves. We don't harness the energy inside of us to take care of ourselves, because we're so locked up in our emotions and feelings about who and how we see ourselves or how other people see ourselves. And then, we're all miserable and angry and frustrated and gave away our life. Some of us live our lives and we can't find somebody to complement us in a relationship because we're so consumed in our work, in our, and the ideas that we have to have this and that. I'm not saying that you don't have to you shouldn't work. I'm just saying there's limits to things. Sure, in our country, yeah, right. The government has not made it easy for us to have jobs. Yeah, the job rate's up, but people are working 3 or 4 jobs. But a lot of people don't want to be truthful to themselves. Sometimes I'm not truthful to myself and know what it would take for me to get better. I know, as you know, what you need to do. But will you do it? Will I do it? That's to be answered. That's to come to a certain point in our lives and realize that. Will we make that decision? Will we make that final decision that we're going to better our lives? Or are we just going to keep moseying on down each day, pretend like, we got another day, and act like that? These are true stories, my friends. I'm not here to scare anybody. I'm not here to, to make people feel guilty. But most of you won't listen to the rest of the show because it's too painful. Not because I'm right, not because I have the answers, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. What will you do? What could you do today to make this a better world for yourself? Not just the whole world, because when you make a better day for you, you make it a better world for you, it becomes a better place for everybody else. When you make this a better place for yourself, it rubs off on other people. But so many people think that they're not leaders. So many people think that they're not the example. But you are. Even in the midst of being called a sheep or whatever, or a follower, they still lead too. They all lead their little packs. Every human being leads some pack or another somewhere, in some group or some other. You may not be the leader of the big pack, but you have a little pack that you move. And that little pack influences the other packs. And all these packs start to influence each other. But we don't see that because we're in the soup. We're in the soup. We're in the salad bowl. And we're getting tossed around. But ask yourself, have you been a good human being to other people? What is it that holds you back from being a good human being? What holds you back from not wanting to look at another person and accept them how they are versus how you want them to be? We look at people and we're like, man, that guy's got it rough, or that guy's got it bad. Or, for the reasons I walk away from people is because, they've hurt me. They've said things that are not truthful about me, about how they perceive me. And sometimes it's better to walk away from that and say thank you for the lessons. And I'm going to find other people who will build me up and encourage me to do better, versus people who break me down and tear me down to keep me down with them, because they don't want to be alone. Misery enjoys company, right? It's kind of the same thing. We have to do better for ourselves. We have to take control. Is there a higher source? Of course there is. But a higher source also gives you the perception of free will. And free will is for us to make decisions about how we want to move into our lives. So at any time you can decide what you need to do, what's best for you. But, seeing life and understanding what other people see is not easy, but it's also very enlightening and a very eye-awakening to understand and to see how other people see the world. We see the world because of, according to however we paint the picture. We look at things and we get angry because we think things are going to be a certain way. There's no guarantee that it's going to be that way. You can just only go by reference points and things that we've seen. But that doesn't guarantee that it's going to be that way. It doesn't mean it's going to be that way. Sometimes we're so stuck in the mud in the story of what we see that we don't even see how the story is playing out, because we're so wrapped in what we don't want to see that whatever's working itself through the mud, whatever's working through the system, starts to rear its head, and then we're in it, and then it's too late. You look at anything that man does. Man, it creates bandwagons. We all jump on bandwagons. We have to be part of something. If we're not part of something, then we're not part of the solution. If we're part of the solution, then we're not. It's so complicated sometimes. We complicate things. We want change. Then sometimes you got to rip the floors off beneath, the things that don't serve us anymore. Oh, but no, you're not a patriot, or you're anti this or anti that, or you're a radical, blah, blah, blah. You look at any revolution that has ever happened in this world, it all started with an idea. Was the idea legitimate? I don't know. Was it? Majority of people who get caught in the revolution didn't even start the thing. It's always a small group of people. Small group of, ideas that speak for others, and it speaks for many people. And then when it speaks for many people, the people who didn't speak up get caught in the whirlwind of that. And that's pretty much the general population. The American Revolution, for example, do you think that everybody was on board with the American Revolution? No, I'm sure there were some people who were very content being part of the crown and paying their taxes and doing what they did. But there was a band of men who saw different. They didn't see it the same way. And it caused the ruckus, and it caused, the story for those of you, without getting into too much detail. But it opened a whole can of whoop ass, And here we are today, because some guys decided that what they didn't like wasn't good enough for all of us. So they wanted better for us. Is it better? Depends who you ask. Some people think that how we live is questionable. Is it? I don't know. I think when you look in the world around, in this world, living in the United States is a very good damn opportunity. Maybe you see something different, but I see it different. Remember, I don't want to be derogatory, but I'm a foreigner, I'm an immigrant. I immigrated here with my family. I was taught differently. I was programmed differently. I was told stories about America, why we're in America, what it means to be part of America, North America, because I'm also from South America. Those were very powerful stories to me. To be an entrepreneur, to go out there and create your own, and, not having handouts, not asking for anything from anybody. The hard work, you put in hard work, and you will get results. Did that work? Yeah. You get all kinds of results. You get money, you get, prestige, whatever. But then the other of it, you also wear down, you get tired, you're exhausted, you're worn out, you get sick, you don't have insurance, you don't have all the things that you would need. The next thing you know, you're having issues with your spirituality, your body, and your mind. I used to own a restaurant. And, when I tell my friends, I'm like, oh, man, you got a great opportunity, Dad. But it's not what I wanted. That wasn't my dream. That was my dad's dream. I wanted to do other things. And he and I couldn't agree. And us not being able to agree caused a lot of tension. Pulled us apart. He had ideas of what had worked. This is why it's important about ways of thinking. How they make you see life. This is why I'm talking about this, because this is very powerful. People introduce you to new ways of life, or new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing life. So important. I got to see new ways of seeing life. Even from the programming that I had. When I saw things that I liked and I didn't have in my life, I wanted that in my life. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted that. I want that. I kind of need that. I don't have that. I've got work, no play. Work, no play. Work, maybe play. But when people introduced ideas and feelings and emotions about what they were doing and how they were living, that sparked a new way of seeing life. And this is a constant reconstruct of your life, constant construct of rebuilding your life, how you see your life. You know, I was in an old paradigm, an old thinking, old programming, because it served my family. It served my dad and my mom. It served me. I have, because of that thinking, the opportunities and the reasons I have what I have. You know? But then, you know, you want more. You know? Some people are happy where they get a certain level, they're there and they're happy. But I wanted more. I wanted more from life. I wanted to experience that. I wanted to drum. I wanted to sing. I wanted to dance. I wanted to play. It took a while, but I got to that place. And, you know, now I'm evolving again of things I want to do, things I want to experience. You know, some people get offended when you say, well, I used to do that. I used to be like that. It's not that you're trying to be offensive. It's like, it means that, you know, I was there and I get that. I understand, but I'm not there anymore. And so for me, it's important to know who I'm with, who I'm connected with, how I'm aligned with, because it doesn't take much for someone to change and warp your programming and change the thoughts pattern in your head about how they see you or how you see the world, or just tell you, hey, this is kind of stupid. Why are you doing that? You know, you'd be surprised, the most subtle things. And some people don't even know they're doing it. You know, they don't even know they're doing that. They're bringing that kind of treachery and harm to your life. So it's always, you have to be vigilant. You have to be on top of the game, on top of it, and understanding what you're listening to, what's happening, what's being whispered in your ear. Because it's so subtle. It's so subtle. You know? You know, who are your friends? What do you listen to? What do you watch? What do you do when you're alone? What do you do when you have downtime? What is your bliss? What is your joy? And I know it's hard for some people to know what their bliss and joy is, because they weren't allowed to be that way. They weren't allowed to experience life that way. So I know that a lot of you have gotten good and better at picking people in your life. But there's always people come in here and surprise you, right? They surprise you in one way or another. The good, the bad, and the ugly, like I said earlier. But that's what happens. This is why this topic is, you know, story of us. What's your story? What do you tell yourself? How do you program yourself every day? How do you get into your own head? What do you tell yourself to motivate you? Who motivates you? Who puts you in the frame of mind? Are you an angry person? Are you a happy person? Why are you happy? Why are you sad? Why are you angry? You ever ask yourself that? What's the problem? What is the issue? Better, what's the problem? What's the deal? What is it that why do you hold back? Because we're all carry stories that aren't so good. We call them traumas. And those stories that we carry help us to program a piece and part of ourselves in order to keep others out that we don't feel that would serve our needs and serve us personally. But yet, we may be blocking out people who could actually be beneficial to our lives. The stories of traumas are always rewritten. The trauma you experience was experienced in the moment, in that moment when it happened to you. And then after that, it's a repeat of clarity and unclarity. Because what happens is you start to forget pieces and parts, and you start to add to it. But you try to hold on to it, because if you don't hold on to it, then you're not honoring the little child that was wounded and damaged in that moment. But actually, that little child was probably the most powerful person in that moment to be able to hold that energy. The person who struggles to hold that energy and that power right now is the person who's present. So that person, you have to have a conversation with you and your inner child. who was wounded, because they're looking for you to free them and help them. So they don't have to hold that anymore, because that should be something an adult should be able to take and move it out. But we're so locked in our stories of who we see, how we see the world, and how we feel about the world. So, guys, it's not hard to figure all this stuff out. It's just us have to take time to break down the things that are important to us, the things that we know that we need to work on. But, it's very difficult for some of us sometimes, because it requires a lot of upheaval, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of reflection, a lot of feelings of ourselves. Just ask the Great Spirit, Great Spirit, help us on our journey of reflection, help us in our journey to find the pieces and parts that are wounded, help us to understand that we're here on this journey because you have given us an opportunity to be part of this and be in this. The Great Spirit always protects you. But you have to believe that protection comes in a way that Great Spirit knows what's best for you. So many times we think that things have to be a certain way, and we put demands and crutches on things. We can't put any demands on anybody or anything. Our faith is what carries us forward. Our faith in the ideologies and the beliefs that we create. If you don't believe in anything, that means you have a lot to believe in. So not believing anything is a lot. You have to believe in a lot of different things that don't exist. But nothing was made from nothing, so remember that. Something came from something. Nothing came from something. You came from somewhere. You weren't just some biological mistake. They just appeared randomly out of thin air. No, you're precision, human creation, made in a way that precisely functions in a way that doesn't need your whole attention. Yes, our brain and the capacities of the subconscious, super subconscious, all that takes a factor. But when you really think about it, there's not a whole lot you have to think about. Your heart works by itself. Your lungs work by themselves. All the organs function in a way that they should by themselves. But we're so forgetful of that. All the tools that we have inside of us to keep us alive, we have. Our job is to make sure that we are taking care of that process, making sure we're taking care of that body, taking care of the pieces that need to be worked on. So, there's a lot to cover, there's a lot to unwind, there's a lot to unravel. But I'll tell you this, it's good to be here. Happy solstice, happy full moon. I hope you enjoy your summer, because it just started. Officially, it is as hot as heck out there. But you know what? When winter comes, you'll be like, it's cold as heck out there. So enjoy. It's good to be here. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy your time with your friends and your family. Enjoy the time with the people that you choose to be with. Enjoy your lone time when you want to be by yourself. Whatever you do, just keep an open mind. An open mind that you may see the world one way and others may not see the world the same way that you do. And that's okay. But for some people, it's not okay. Some people get really bent out of shape when people can't see their view, can't see their point. Listen, feel, and try to understand. If you can, then you can't. But if you do, you'll get it. You'll understand why people go and come from places that they come from. Because for a lot of people, it's difficult to be themselves and to expose themselves and be open to the energies that they want to be part of. So anyways, enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And definitely enjoy your summertime, because it will go fast. Enjoy the moments that you can with your friends and family. Enjoy the moments that are given to you. Enjoy, your breath, every breath you take. Enjoy the sleep and the rest you take. And if your eyes wake up the next day, your eyes open, and you look around and you see the sun rising, or it's still dark, whatever, know that you've been blessed and you've been given a gift to participate and partake in another beautiful day. I'm Iggy Garcia. It's good to be here. Matakuyasin, Ho'oponopono, Irisikwi. And you know what? Like I always say, it's good to be here. And remember, be the changes you want to see. I know that's a cliche, but be the change of yourself. Work on you so you can see the change around you. Because you know what? People are watching you. People are looking at you. People are taking cues from you. Just the same way you're taking cues and watching others, people are watching you too. All right, friends. Take care. I will see you soon. Thank you for this opportunity. And for those of you who tuned in today, I really appreciate you guys. Be well, and I will see you next time. And I'll be in Peru July 5th through the 15th of this year. And I'll get back to you. I'll probably do some shows from there. All right, be well, guys. Take care. Much love. And visit me on my YouTube channel. It's good to be here. Look for Iggy Garcia and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will see you next time, guys.